Hello there, in this video I will be presenting how to use DocuScribe. I will explain as I go, but let's start by installing the extension. I'll go to the extensions menu and click on install from VSIX, just as I'm doing right now. I have my package install or available right here, Hackathon 2025, DocuScribe. This is the installable. It just takes a second, it's already installed. Now, if I go to the folder, I have this use case, this example of some source code. So as a developer, I probably will get into projects that I don't have any idea. There is no documentation. Like right now, there is no README file. Our extension can generate README files on the fly based on the current workspace. So DocuScribe, generate README file right there. That will use Oleama that is installed on the system, and that's a pretty unacceptable requirements, as there are other plugins like, for example, Continue, that also rely on a local installation of Oleama. But right here, Continue. But however, it's also possible, the idea is to extend on this infrastructure so that we can use other third-party services. Now you can see that it just finished generating the README file. And I want to highlight that it's aware of the context. I will continue explaining, but before I will start the generation of the DocuScribe, generation of the reference. This is more technical. This is so that we can understand how the different objects and the different files interact. But coming back to the README, you can probably see the different files that the project has. It talks a little bit about the structure, how to use it, and like some features. Basically a README that can explain a little bit of everything. Like I mentioned before, everything is passed to the LLM. So all the files, the LLM is aware of all the files and what each file does. We also have added another feature that allows us not only to get the README and the reference, but we can also create DocuString documentation inline on the files. There is DocuScribe, and then you will see a function like this one, generate inline documentation, which will basically take the current file and add the documentation to it. However, I want to show another more interesting feature, which is this one, DocuScribe. Let me just close that. DocuScribe Live. So basically the idea is what happens if I'm working on some code and I make some changes. For example, right here, when I add a student, the student must be 18 or older. What if I wanted to be 15 and older? I make the change, I probably am tapping some things and then I stop. And the system will detect when I stop coding, and it will basically get all the data and try to generate some documentation based on what it's currently seeing. So that way I can get more live and on-time documentation. Now let's back to the reference just to explain the last little bit, what I generated a moment ago. This reference talks about the functions, about the documents that you have in the file, also like the specific parameters of every function and how the structure basically works. And well, that's a quick demonstration of DocuScribe. I hope you liked it.